Hi there. In this video, I will show you how to get a Band 7 in IELTS Writing Task 2. So, let's get started. Now, before we look at this question, you might be thinking, who am I? Well, my name is Mr. Brick and I am a qualified English teacher from the UK. I have been teaching English for nearly 10 years and I specialize in IELTS. So, now that we know that, let's get started and let's read the question that we will answer in this video. The growing number of overweight people is putting a strain on the healthcare system. Some people think that the best way to deal with this problem is to introduce more physical education lessons in the school curriculum. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Well, that's a difficult question, but let's break this down. And as always, I will make this lesson free to download in the comment section, in the description, sorry. So once I've completed this essay, you can download it free of charge by clicking the link in the description. Now, let's break this question down into 3 steps. So step 1 would be to highlight the important words from this question. But this time, before we do that, let's understand this question because there are some very difficult words. So this question is broken down into 3 sentences. Sentence 1 and 2 is part of the statement, and then the 3rd sentence is a question. So let's focus on the statement, sentence 1. The growing number of overweight people is putting a strain on the healthcare system. Now, before we look at part 1, it is very important for us to understand the question, and this is a difficult question, so let's understand this first. So, this question here is broken down into 3 sentences. Sentence 1 and 2 are part of the statement, and then the final sentence, which starts from here, to what extent do you agree or disagree, that is the question, that's the instruction. So let's look at sentence 1 and understand it. The growing number of overweight people is putting a strain on the healthcare system. Well, this is basically telling us that the number of people who are overweight is increasing. There are more and more overweight people, okay? And this is becoming a burden for the hospitals and the doctors because they have too many patients to deal with, and therefore they cannot look at other patients. That's what this sentence is telling us. So now that we understand sentence 1, let's look at the second one, the second sentence. Some people think that the best way to deal with this problem, what problem are we talking about? The problem is being overweight. So the best way to deal with this problem is to introduce more physical education lessons in the school curriculum. Now, the second sentence, some people think that the best way to deal with this problem is to introduce more physical education lessons in the school system. Now, whether we agree with this or not, let's just focus on the question. So this question is saying that it's a problem, and that's because if you are overweight, you are more likely to get certain illnesses such as diabetes, obesity, or even other things such as becoming lethargic, very tired, so on and so forth. So the third thing that we need explanation on is physical education lessons. So in the UK, we refer to these lessons as PE lessons. And this is a subject where we learn about different physical sports, such as football, basketball, and we also learn theory-based information, for example, nutrition, dietary requirements, macros such as protein, carbohydrates, so on and so forth. So overall, it is saying that look, being overweight is affecting the healthcare system. One way to deal with this problem is to teach students about the implications of being overweight. Do you agree with this or not? So now that we've understood this, let's highlight the important parts of this question. So the question is about people who are overweight. So let's highlight this, overweight. And the second thing that we will highlight is how to deal with this problem, and that's to introduce more physical education lessons in the school. And then the final thing we will highlight, as always, is the instruction. And in this case, the instruction is asking us to what extent do you agree or disagree? So now that we've highlighted the important parts of the question, let's now move on to part 2, where we create our plan. Now, in our plan, all we have to do is think of reasons why we might agree or why we might disagree. So, what are we agreeing with? Well, we are agreeing with that the best way to deal with the problem of possibly becoming obese is to introduce more PE lessons. So let's think of one reason why we might agree. Now, one reason why people might agree is because PE lessons promote more physical activity. And with physical activity, people are probably less likely to become obese. So I will write that in our plan. Students will therefore be less likely to become obese. Now I can add more information here to help me out with the essay itself. So I will write, this leads to reducing health problems. Now that is enough information there for point 1. And now we can move on to point 2. Now altogether, we need to aim for around 3 to 5 points for this type of question. Now, this question is very tricky because it says, to what extent do you agree or disagree? So it is asking us, do you agree a little bit? Do you agree a lot? Do you strongly agree? Or do you disagree a little bit? Do you strongly disagree? So we need to make that very clear in our plan. One way we can do that is by writing more reasons why we agree and less reasons why we disagree. So we will do that in our plan. So this point is complete, but just to help me or just to remind me whilst I'm writing out the essay, I'm just going to write here, give an example. Okay, so here I can talk about an example of a health problem that relates to obesity. Right, that's perfect. Let's move on to point 2 of why we might agree. And here I will write that, yes, more PE lessons will reduce the chances of becoming obese because students will learn quite a bit about physical activities. So let's write that. Increasing the number of PE lessons will enhance students' understanding of health and diet. Okay. Again, I'm just going to write in the plan here to add a supporting sentence. Right. And then we can come up with the supporting sentence later. Let's now move on to point 3, if we can think of one. If not, then we will just write more reasons for disagree. But let's see if we can find another reason. Well, one reason I can think of is that increasing PE lessons will help students focus more in school. And the reason why I say that it will help them focus more is because most students, I think, enjoy PE more than any other subjects. At least that's the case with my experience of speaking to students. I work in a school myself, and I think most students, they like PE more than any other subject. So although that's not directly related to helping us tackle the issue of being overweight, I'm still going to write this down. And then if we want to include that in our essay, we can. If not, don't worry. We can just focus more on the other side of the argument. And increasing the number of PE lessons can help students stay more engaged, as most students like PE more than other subjects. And here again, I want to add a supporting sentence. Add supporting sentence. And we add supporting sentences, by the way, to strengthen our argument and also to give more information about the points we are discussing. So if you are a little bit confused about that, you will learn more as we go along in this video. Now, that's 3 points there done. I think that's enough. Let's think of reasons why we might disagree now. Now, because I've wrote down 3 reasons here, it's fine if I just write 1 reason now for disagree. Remember, we do not want a balanced argument. We want to, strongly agree. We want to strongly be on the side of one argument, whether that's strongly agree or whether that's strongly disagree. So we've got 3 reasons here. So in the essay, I'm going to strongly agree, which means that for disagree, I'm just going to write 1 reason. And that 1 reason, I will say that introducing more PE lessons actually won't help the problem of obesity. And in fact, it might do the opposite. It might just make students more tired. And therefore, they might not be able to learn and concentrate in their other lessons. Think about it. Imagine you double the number of your PE lessons. That means that you will be running a lot more. You will be more active for a lot more time. And therefore, you might be tired as well for, a longer period of time. And that might result in you not focusing as much as you could have done in your lessons. So I think that's a good reason. And then we can talk about that in more detail in our essay. So, introducing more PE lessons can make students feel more tired, which will impact their performance in other subjects. Now, in the essay, when I'm writing, as I said before, I will agree. I will strongly agree. So here, this is a negative reason. So I want to provide a counter argument. So I'm just going to write add counter argument or supporting sentence. Now, a counter argument is basically you've given a reason here, and then we want to fight this reason. So, for example, if we introduce more PE lessons and students feel more tired, well, how can we fight the idea of students being tired? Well, one way we can do that is increase the lessons of PE, but that doesn't mean we have to increase the physical activity. We can just increase their learning so they can still sit in the classroom, but just learn more about nutrition or calorie intake or things of that nature. So that's what we will add for our counter argument if we have enough word count. Now, that's step 2 done. Our plan is complete. Let's now move on to writing out the essay. Now, I'm just going to move on to a new page to write out the essay, just so we can still see the plan. And I will move this question here and write out the answer here. Now, I've just moved over to a double screen here, just so we can see the full page of Microsoft Word. Now, in this essay, we will write down 4 paragraphs. Okay, the introduction, body 1, which is where we will show reasons why we agree. Body 2, which will be where we show the reasons why we might disagree, and the conclusion. Now, an interesting point here, our agree paragraph will naturally be a lot longer than our disagree because there's more points in our agree paragraph. So don't worry if one paragraph looks a lot longer than any other paragraph. And with that statement, let's get started with our introduction. And what we want to do for our introduction is reword our statement. And we can do that by writing something like this. Many people believe that the number of physical education lessons in school should be increased. Why should they be increased? Well, because we want to tackle obesity. So I'm going to write that, to help tackle obesity. There you go. And that's all we have to do here. So all I did here was just reword the statements, put it in my own words basically. And now that we've done that, all we now need to do, I'm just going to delete this. But yeah, all we now need to do is give our opinion here. So we already know that we are going to agree. So in this essay, I will write, there are many reasons or several reasons why I strongly agree that increasing PE lessons in schools can significantly help address obesity. So lots of nice words here. I've tried to use words that will help us get a band 7 or higher, such as address obesity, significant. I've also stated that I didn't just agree, I strongly agree. And the reason why I wrote strongly is just to sound more confident, just so I can show the examiner that I'm very confident when I write out my answer. And with that, we are ready to move on to paragraph 2. And all we need to do here is just introduce our first point here. So our point was PE lessons promote more physical activity, and students will therefore be less likely to become obese. So I'm going to start this with a sequence word, and which is firstly, comma. Now, writing the word firstly shows the examiner that I have many reasons, okay? And it also shows confidence that I am organized with my response. So now that I've wrote firstly, I can introduce every point with a sequence word such as secondly, thirdly, fourthly, fifthly, or I can use synonyms of these words to get even higher marks. So instead of using the secondly, thirdly, I can use moreover, furthermore, additionally. So we will see this as we go along. Additional PE lessons encourage greater physical activity among students, comma, and this will result in reducing the risk of future health problems. So we'll write that. Additional PE lessons encourage greater physical activity amongst students, reducing the risk of future health problems. And I can give my example now, such as obesity. And that's our first sentence done. And I've also given our example, as I mentioned here. So now all we need to do is move on to the second point. So like I said, I can use sequence words, such as moreover, furthermore. But just to make it easier for you to understand for now, I will just use the word secondly. And now if you do feel confident, feel free to use a sequence word of your choice. And also remember, after every sequence word, there is a comma. Just like firstly, comma, secondly, comma. So secondly, And what was our reason, actually? I actually forgot. So increasing the number of PE lessons will enhance students' understanding of health and diet. So basically, it will increase them in knowledge. So I will just write that, actually. That's a good sentence starter. Secondly, increased PE classes can enhance students' understanding of health and well-being, thereby, so a good word here, promoting better dietary choices. Okay, that sentence is fine. That's actually a very good sentence. And we said that we would add a supporting sentence here. So again, a supporting sentence is a sentence that just helps us strengthen our argument. We just need to give more information. So a good way to do this, and if you watched any of my previous videos, it's something that I do all the time, is just talk about what recent research has shown. So I can say studies have shown, or I can say research has suggested. Here I will write studies have shown that individuals with a strong understanding of balanced diets are less likely to develop unhealthy eating habits. Now, I've just made this point up. I don't know if it's true, but the way I came up with this idea was that I was just thinking about myself. When I was young, when I was in high school, I used to eat lots of junk food. And up till this day, I think I'm still slightly addicted to many sweets or chocolates. But if I was taught from an early age, from a young age, the negative impacts of eating so many sugary items like chocolates, then I probably would have stayed away from them. But I only learned at a later time, a later age. And because of that, I found it very difficult. So, yeah, that's where I got that reason from. And I think that's a good supporting sentence. I'm just going to make this slightly bigger. There you go. That's much better. There you go. Fix that now. Okay, so we've got a first point, a second point. Now we can move on to our third point. But what I'm noticing here, and this is just from my own experience, that we've got 2 points here, but we haven't got that many words. This is a total of 57 words. If this is our largest paragraph, we need to give more information. So I can do two things here now. I can move on to the third point and talk about that in a lot of detail, or I can talk about this current point in a lot of detail. And I will decide to do that actually, only because I've already given it a supporting sentence, so it's easy for me to add more information. So I've talked about the study. Our studies have shown that individuals with a strong understanding of balanced diets are less likely to develop unhealthy eating habits. So now I can talk about how this doesn't only just improve our knowledge, but it also reduces possible healthcare costs, because it will mean that we will more likely to be healthy, and therefore we don't need to see a doctor as much, possibly. So this not only improves health outcomes, but also potentially reduces healthcare costs. Yeah, that's that sentence done. Now, if you are benefiting from this video, please hit that like button. And also, if you want me to answer a question of your choice, just put it in the comment section below. And let's continue. Now, I did say that you can introduce every point with firstly, secondly, thirdly. But I've showed you how to use firstly and secondly. So now I will show you how to use a much more difficult sequence word, which is moreover. So moreover, and now I can move on to this point here. Increasing the number of PE lessons can help students stay more engaged, as most students like PE, and then give a supporting sentence. So, moreover, increasing the number of PE lessons can make learning more exciting. Okay, can make learning more exciting. Okay, and right, this sentence is fine, but remember we're aiming for those band 7s and 8s and 9s. So I'm just going to use some nicer words, some more fancy words. So moreover, increasing the number of PE lessons can make the learning process more exciting. I saw that in our notes. A learning process for students, and as many students say that their favorite lesson is PE. Okay, now that part is done, and remember we need to add a supporting sentence here as well. So this is looking like a very strong paragraph. I think for every point we've given an example or a supporting sentence. So this actually clearly shows that this side of the argument is definitely going to win. And that's what we want. We want to be clear with our writing. So this is good. It's not confusing. It's all in order because of our sequence words. So far, we're on track to possibly even a band 9. So now I add a supporting sentence. So I've said studies before. So this time I will just write research. Research has shown, demonstrated. Research has demonstrated. Okay. So again, a nice word for those higher marks. So research has demonstrated that early exposure to regular physical activity in school, Okay, I want to say there's a relationship there with a healthier life. So I will use the word correlates. Correlates with healthier lifestyle choices later in life. And now let's give an example. I can write such as, or I can write including, maintaining a healthy weight, and reducing the rate of chronic diseases. There you go. That's our paragraph done. And let's see how many words that is. That is a total of 126 words. That's perfect. So this paragraph, if it was a balanced argument, it would be around 100. But because this side of the argument is going to win, we've used 126 words, which is very good. And now we are ready to move on to paragraph 3. And we're going to talk about this point here. Introducing more PE lessons can make students feel more tired. So a good way to introduce the opposite side of the argument is to use however, comma. So we will use that. And now we will just introduce this point. So I'm going to say that there's lots of concerns regarding the impact of more PE lessons on students. And those concerns is that it can make students feel tired in other lessons. So let's write that. However, there are concerns regarding the impact of PE lessons. Sorry about these spelling errors. They're more typos really because I've got the microphone here and lighting. But anyways, let's get on. Impact of PE lessons on students. Okay, let's read this. However, there are concerns regarding the impact of PE lessons on students. Right, I'm going to describe PE lessons. So extensive. That means too much. Right, so we've used the adjective there. On students, suggesting that more PE lessons can lead to tiredness or to a lack of concentration in other subjects throughout the day. Now, notice how specific I am, how detailed I am with my wording. I didn't just say that more PE lessons can make someone tired. I gave very specific examples. I said that it can make students feel more tired throughout the day, okay? And that sentence is done. Okay, so now that we've done this part, we need to add a counter argument and a possible supporting sentence. So a counter argument is basically I said, look, here's a problem, but I'm now going to say here's how to fix the problem. And the reason why I'm going to say here's how to fix it, because remember, in the argument, overall, we're saying that more PE lessons are good. So I've just mentioned that PE lessons here, more PE lessons are bad. But now I'm going to say, yeah, it can be bad, but here's how to fix it. So to fix this issue, or to address this issue, teachers can allocate some PE lessons to learning about the theory side of PE, or learning about the research and nutritional aspects of PE. And now let's give more information with this. That's not enough here. We need to add a supporting sentence. So I will write, this approach will allow students to have more PE lessons without worrying about becoming tired and losing focus in their classes. I'm going to change the word tired. Any word that is basic that I can change to a higher order vocabulary, I will. So tired, I will change it to fatigued. And also, well done for staying up until this point of the video. That is absolutely amazing. We are on our way to get those higher grades. So well done. Right, that paragraph is done, and that's a total of 72 words. That's perfect because these should be around 200 words, and they are, these two paragraphs, 198 words. That is beautiful. Excellent. Okay, now we're on to our final paragraph, which is our conclusion. And the conclusion paragraph, all we say is, I strongly agree. I know we've said it in the introduction. We just want to repeat that statement and then give a reason why we agree. But we do not want to introduce a new point. We only want to say why we agree using one reason from this paragraph here. So let's do that now. As always, we will start our conclusion paragraph with either to conclude, comma, or in conclusion, comma. And then say, I strongly believe that PE lessons will help reduce obesity. And then I want to say, in conclusion, I strongly believe that more PE lessons will help students not become overweight, and then give a reason. So let's say that I strongly believe that making more PE lessons mandatory, that means compulsory, at a young age will significantly reduce obesity levels. Now we can give an example, but we can also just add a new sentence here to give our example. By the way, I'm going to write a new sentence here, but that conclusion is actually fine. We can just stop the essay there if we want to. I'm just writing an extra sentence just to show you that we can add an extra sentence if we want to. So let's do that now. I strongly believe that making more PE lessons mandatory at a young age will significantly reduce obesity levels. So now I want to say this approach will not only boost students' activity levels, but it will also enhance their theoretical knowledge, which is basically the information that they learn about physical activity and the risks of bad health. Now, we can change bad to, a synonym, but we'll leave it for now. And that's our essay complete. So that is a total of 282 words. And if you have any questions, again, please put them in the comment section below. Let me know if there's anything else that I can do to help you get your Band 7s in IELTS writing. And if you benefited from this video, please click on the playlist on your screen to watch other videos where I answer different questions from IELTS Writing Task 2. And I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.